On March 14th, West Virginia's legislative session officially wrapped. Despite headlines about proposed bans on drag performance, Bible mandates in public schools, and even a law that would require police to sell machine guns to residents, none of those bills actually survived the session. So what did end up passing, and what does all this mean for the Mountain State and Appalachia at large? Well, to start, another session has gone by, and Southern West Virginians still don't have access to clean drinking water. Earlier this year, we heard about a bipartisan plan to use some of the state's $1.4 billion rainy day fund to address long-standing drinking water issues throughout the southern coalfields. Advocates petitioned to supply fewer counties with more funding, giving priority to the state's most dire cases. Well, that didn't happen. Instead, lawmakers rejected two bills, both asking for $10 million to be allocated to these projects. And although some of the state's yearly budget is spent on clean water goals, it is a far cry from the estimated $1.73 billion that would be needed to address its water needs in full. So if clean water initiatives continually struggle to receive funding, what infrastructure developments are in West Virginia's future? Well, despite controversy, protests, and promises of change from local politicians, 2025's HB 2014 came out of this session unchanged. That bill incentivizes high-impact data center construction by allowing them to create private, unregulated microgrids for power, as well as limiting local zoning control over those projects. And across the state, West Virginians are already feeling an impact. As we've previously reported, organizers in Tucker and Mingo counties have challenged air quality permits granted to data centers in their communities. Still, development continues on those projects. And in Mason County, a previously existing data center is being expanded by London-based tech company Nscale. And it was just reported that House Speaker Roger Hanshaw signed on to represent data center developers in Tucker and Mason counties, in a move that, while technically legal, ethics watchdogs are calling an obvious conflict of interest. Meanwhile, in neighboring Pennsylvania, the small town of Archbald is reeling at the prospect of 6 new data centers. As our colleagues at Grist report, if completed, these campuses would cover a full 14% of the town, evict a trailer park, and border many residential properties. Another bill that passed expands West Virginia's definition of human smuggling to include transporting or harboring a person with illegal alien status, the latest in West Virginia's crackdown on undocumented people. Last year, the state partnered with ICE to implement Federal Program 287G, authorizing state police and local jails to enforce federal immigration laws. Over 600 immigrants were arrested across West Virginia, many without prior records and detained in already overcrowded jails. A federal judge recently ruled the practice unconstitutional, and West Virginia jails said they won't accept any new immigrant detainees. And starting last week, federal immigration agents were sent to 14 airports across the country, including Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Atlanta. This followed the recent partial government shutdown that has limited funding for the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees airport security. For his part, West Virginia Governor Morrissey has called this legislative session a big win, while Senate Education Chair Amy Grady called it
the most disappointing session I've ever had.
I'm Griffin with 100 Days in Appalachia, and that's the latest from the hills to the hollers.